Well, it's mid-January 2018, and came across a really great deal on Craigslist the other day. This guy had an apartment building that he was remodeling, and had the listing said 7 cast iron tubs for $1,000, so that's what caught my eye. Anyways, by the time I got there, there was 4 left. The date stamp on them says 11/29/1918, so they're older than dirt. Most of them are in, actually all 3 of them are in metal damage here. We're gonna have to weld a new piece of metal on there for that clawfoot probably. But other than that, they're in pretty decent condition, and sell the other 3 to pay for ours, and hopefully turn a profit. So that's what we're gonna kind of work on this winter, is refinishing these, and we'll just keep you posted as it goes along. Things first, I'm going to remove whatever claw feet are left. I think there's hardware, the drain, and all this existing stuff. I want to remove the claw feet, like this tub here. Still has 1 claw attached to it. There we go. 1 down, 3 to go. We're just gonna, Mickey's come out here with the mop, and we're gonna clean them out and see, so we can assess the state of the porcelain a little bit better. There we go. 4 cleaned up tubs, all denuded of their parts. They're actually all in pretty good condition. There's a couple, let's see, on the edges here. There's 1 there. There's 1 there. Little chip. No, it's a chip here. After a little bit of research, it appears that these tubs are actually going to be worth more if we cut them in half, cut them up a little bit, and make chairs out of them. So this one, down the middle, and we'll attach the claw feet to it. So I think I'm going to have to level it up first to make that happen, but we'll fine. And decided to try out 2 different ways of cutting it. I've got just some regular abrasive cutting wheels here that'll go on this worm drive circular saw, and then I've got a high-speed angle grinder here, and we'll try this diamond tip blade with that. Any way you look at it, it's going to be a arduous process. The outside of it here is painted, so that's why I got my respirator out. But I got a line drawn on here. It wasn't very easy to do with the level. This tub is just so dang heavy that trying to shim it up and lift it and get it all, just cut these tabs, and it should break free. So, in review, the abrasive blades, not that great. They bounced around a whole bunch. This is where I started to try that. It bounced around a bunch, and then when it got to the porcelain, it couldn't cut through. The diamond blade did this whole length in about the same amount of time that I took to mess that all up, but it's pretty precise. I'm liking the way it's cutting. Hopefully it's not wearing the diamonds out on it that quick. Okay, I got all the cuts done that I could from the back side. Around these compound corners, the blade wasn't actually thick enough. So you can see the tabs that I left here. So I'm going to cut this, and then hopefully just cut those tabs, and it should be free.
Good job, baby.
Next step is going to be to smooth out this cut edge here. I've got some chip these ends back a little bit, taper them back this way. So I got a couple more cuts to do, and then I'll be switching over to the grinding wheel. Next step is the sandblasting. Got me a temporary little sandblasting booth set up out here in the carport. Got me a cheap sandblaster off of Amazon, and I'm gonna do a little scraping with a paint scraper and see how much of that paint will come off, because it's pretty thick and it does take quite a while to blast it all off with the sandblaster, I realized the other day. So we'll see what will come off by this, and then we'll get... Well, there was really only one little spot where the paint came off by scraping, so time to get the big guns out. Well, after about 5 minutes of sandblasting and feeling like I was getting absolutely nowhere, I think that, at least for my air compressor and this big of a piece, sandblasting is not going to be the way to go. So I'm going to rig up a wire wheel on an angle grinder and hopefully get some material taken off this sumbitch. I'm thinking this pup here, stainless steel grinding wheel, ought to do the trick quite a bit faster. Oh yeah, yeah. This tub is literally 100 years old, so there's literally 100 years of paint on it, but it's only about 4 or 5 coats. We got a black, a red, like a creamish color, several different layers of different creams. I've only done about a quarter of it, and the wheel's already in pretty bad shape, so I don't know if I'm using it at the wrong angle or something, but I figured it would have held up a little bit better than that. It took literally 25 minutes to completely go through this $23 stainless steel wire wheel. I mean, it was the highest dollar one they had at Lowe's. So I'm going to go to the hardware store and see if I can buy a couple more. Maybe they'll last a little bit longer, a different brand or something. Well, I really hate using this stripping stuff because it's so friggin' toxic, but I think that's going to be the only rational way to go about this. It's just taking too long and going through too many materials. So I'm going to gear up and use this hardcore stripper and see how it works. After 2 or 3 coats of that paint stripper, I was able to get the majority of the paint off of this thing. There's definitely no flaking or chipping paint. I kind of gave up this last layer of paint just because I really don't think it matters. This paint that's on here now is probably original lead-based paint, and it was just not responding to that stripper at all. But I actually was able to make quite a bit of progress with this type of wire wheel. It wasn't breaking up as much as the other one was. And this one's not even stainless steel, it's just regular, but I was able to go over it all and get the rust off of it, and I think got it to a good point now. We're gonna, unfortunately, don't have a garage that we can do this in, so we're gonna have to take it inside where it'll be warm enough for the paint to cure overnight. Managed to get her inside and wash it down with some warm soapy water to remove the stripper. We're now gonna dry it up with the towel and let it air dry for a second to make sure there's no more moisture. We should be good to put the primer on. The primer coat went on without a hitch, and aside from a little bit of brush strokes, it turned out really good. Still a couple little pinholes that are not coated there, and a little bit of drippage going on there, but other than that, it's all looking pretty good. So now I'm going to run over this with a wet sandpaper and try to knock down some of this texture. And then we've got a glossy shell white final coat that we'll put over it. First coat went on without a hitch, cured now overnight, so I'm going to go ahead and apply a second coat. Got the final coat of paint on there. It turned out really good. I got a couple scratches on it when I was turning it over earlier, but I can touch that up. And the claw feet came in the mail. They actually look pretty good, just black. I was thinking about doing them like a metallic color, but I think I'm just going to leave these ones just black, or else keep it simple. And so now I'm just kind of laying out where I think they're going to work. These ones over here still have like the base, but I'm not going to really use that except for just positioning them. I'll get them on there, and then I'm going to drill through the tub and put bolts to hold these on. It was actually much easier just to drill them from this side. There's going to be some blowout on the porcelain, but I've already got to do some Bondo work on the inside there anyways. So, there she blows. Now I'm just going to use my, hopefully, let's see. I'm going to check out see if these stainless steel machine bolts will fit. As I expected, I think I'm going to have to Bring these holes out just a little bit to get this bolt to countersink in there good. That shouldn't be any problem with the step bit. Got the claw feet on there, and it's out of balance. Womp womp. I'm gonna have to drill some new holes further back. Not a big deal. There we go. It's suitable. It doesn't tip over. Now even fat girls can sit in it. So that went remarkably well. The only problem I really had was with these stupid lock nuts with the nylon inserts in them. They kept getting stuck and fucking up the threads and everything, so I had to go get lock washers and just regular nuts, but it went fine. The only thing, I did get 2 different types of screws accidentally. I got the oval head and the flat headed ones, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. It's going to be covered with the cushion anyways and painted, so now I've just got a little bit of body work to do. But I got the iron exposed on these crack spots, and now I'm going to go through and try to fill those holes with Bondo. That should be a good first coat. Wait for that to cure, and then we'll sand it down and do a touch-up. All the chips have been Bondoed, and the entire surface has been sanded and cleaned and scraped. Now I'm going to use some special cleaner that came with this spray-on refinishing kit here. After 2 rounds of sanding and scrubbing with this special cleaner that came with this stuff, I think the surface is good and prepped, ready to be sprayed. So now I'm going to do a little bit of masking to protect the outside. Okay, I'm all masked off. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of wind going on out here, but that's just the trick in outdoor painting, is to spray between the gusts. I think the first coat went off without a hitch. So now if that can just dry for about 10 minutes, we can apply the second coat. There's the second coat, starting to look a little better. We'll let that dry. I think it's going to take 1 final coat to get things looking real sharp. I think 3 coats will be sufficient. I don't have really great lighting out here, but to the naked eye it looks pretty good. I wish I could have done better on some of these corners, but overall I think it turned out pretty good. Well, we've got the last few ingredients. Got the fabric samples. Got a couple yards of 2 different types of fabric here, and we got the memory foam, and so now it's time to make the upholstery for this thing. So first things first, I'm going to make a template so that I can know how big to cut the foam. Now what I went ahead and did, because I thought it would add an extra level of plushness, was I got a memory foam mattress, 8 inches thick, and we're going to use this for the cushions on all 3 of the chairs that we're going to make. Unfortunately, I should have read the description a little bit better. I thought this was probably the cheapest way to get the memory foam in this quantity, but what we've got here is only like a 2-inch of memory foam, or less even, maybe like 1.5 inches, and then the rest is just regular foam. I thought it was just going to be solid memory foam, which would have been really nice, but that's alright, we'll work with what we've got. I'm going to lay this template on here and mark it out. I'm going to cut the foam with a little bit of extra on each side so that it's not too small, and then we'll trim it down. Picked up a cheap electric fillet knife at Walmart. This is what we're going to be using to cut the foam. That was a little tricky cutting that thick of foam. Would have been a bit easier if I would have had a big flat surface to cut this on, but I got this dang king size mattress, so it was a little bit bulky and tricky to get a square cut, but that's alright because there's extra on here and we can trim it off and make it look good. It's really kind of a pain in the ass with that electric fillet knife because the foam just reverberated and pretty much kept it from making any clean cuts. But I think once we get the upholstery fabric on there, it'll cover up the rough edges there. I think it should be good. We sent the memory foam cushion off and had it upholstered. Turned out really nice. And now we're just putting the last final touches on this thing, and it'll be complete. Just a couple of spots of paint to touch up, but all in all, turned out pretty good looking.